Across from Bowman's Den and the famous Wildcat statue stands Memorial Coliseum, a large multi-purpose sporting arena located in Lexington, Kentucky, and home to many events and other occasions. As you stand in front of Memorial Coliseum, you aren't very pleased with the aesthetic appearance, and the building can be seen as an eyesore. The building was created in 1950 and hasn't undergone any outdoor renovations. Two old ticket booths stand on both sides of the symmetrical and rather important place. As you enter Memorial Coliseum, your first view is large doors that have no sign of a purpose, and they make you eager because you want to know so badly what's behind them. You have two choices of direction. Turn your head left and right as you meet two large ramps that will leave you winded, unless you're one of the D1 stars that know Memorial as a second home. Inside of Memorial Coliseum is where most of the excitement happens. Memorial Coliseum is home to 3 women's sports teams at the University of Kentucky. These teams include basketball, volleyball, and gymnastics. And before Rupp Arena opened in 1976, it also housed the men's basketball team. Our dance team and 21-time national champion cheer team even get in on some of the action here at Memorial. From 5 a.m. practices to cheering on our Wildcats as they go head-to-head with tough opponents. Its floor is where UK students have done everything from celebrating commencement to registering for classes to dancing for 24 hours straight as a part of Dance Blue. Memorial Coliseum even plays a role as a campsite for the craziest Wildcat fans who pitch tents for a week straight to get tickets to Big Blue Madness. This building is home to so many traditions, and I think that this building plays a major role in building community at the university. But why is it that the university can afford so many new facilities and state-of-the-art dorms when we squeeze so many important teams and activities into one space? At my first attempt at understanding the culture, I wanted to talk to some of the students who know the building best, which would be some of the volleyball players who have been practicing and having games in Memorial Coliseum for a while now. But I learned that for any interviews, I'd have to go through their media person, Mike Shoes, the apparent coordinator for these interviews. But he never actually got back to me on meeting with the players. It was weird for me to find out that getting a couple interviews with some of the players about how they spend their time in Memorial Coliseum would have to be conducted in a room surrounded by professionals with tape recorders who were wanting to know things like game stats or what the greatest strengths and weaknesses are as a player. While I just had a couple questions about how they fit into the culture of the space. Not being able to talk to the volleyball players led me to my next best person to ask about Memorial Coliseum. I sat down with Bailey Stetchler, a University of Kentucky freshman and new member of the university's outstanding gymnastics team. I asked her to describe a little about Memorial Coliseum and how she spends her time there.
I'm Bailey. I'm a freshman at the University of Kentucky. I am a gymnast on the Kentucky gymnastics team. We practice 4 hours for 4 times a week, and then we have running for 2 hours 1 time a week. We run in Memorial Coliseum, and usually there's still all the volleyball stuff set up, so we have to run around all their stuff. And then so we don't get our own space. We have to go around all of their stuff that's always set up. And then for competitions, the basketball, they'll be set up one day, and then the next day for us, they'll have to tear all that stuff down and then put all of our stuff up. So it's hectic.
Who does that? You all or?
We don't do it.
Okay.
There's staff that do it.
Okay. So do you all have your own locker room or
We do have our own locker room. We have a separated area in the practice facility, but there's a door that goes to the track and field and goes to the gymnastics, so it goes to everywhere. And then we also have our own big competition locker room in Memorial Coliseum.
And do you all share that with any other teams?
No, it's just gymnastics.
So is it a tight schedule to share the space between everyone?
Yeah, especially for competition season, we have to schedule it around women's basketball because we'll have meets the same weekend they have games. So we'll have to figure out if we're doing a Saturday and they're doing Friday, and figure out all the staffing to take our stuff down and put their stuff, because I mean they just have to put baskets up, but we have to put beams, we have to put bars and floors and springs, and we have to put everything in there, so they have to like make the time for that.
And like whenever you all go there to run, are you like rushed in and out like for another team to get in there to practice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there a team before you and after you?
There's not a team before us. We go early enough, but there's usually later in the day. There's usually like volleyball games or something. So they'll have all the stuff set up for that, but they have to start like practicing and getting ready. So we have to be in and out in a certain amount of time.
Awesome. Thank you. Bailey explains that Memorial Coliseum is a big space, but with all the things that occupy it at all times, it can make it feel small. Yes, the building is always being used, so it has a purpose, but why must there be a constant schedule? Why are some sports forced to run around the equipment of other teams? Why do they have to employ people to do set up or take down constantly when the university could just offer facilities for each team or renovate to offer enough space for everyone? Next, I got to meet with another athlete at the University of Kentucky. His name is Cassius Smith, and he is a defensive back on our football team. Hi, my name is Jalea, and I'm doing a project for my Word 110 class, and I was wondering if I could interview you for my project.
Yeah, sure. My name is Cassius Smith, and I'm a freshman at UK, and I play football, and I'm a mechanical engineering major. About 4 times a week, I go to Memorial Coliseum and study at CATS, which is the Center for Academic Tutorial Services. Every athlete has to do it in order to play. So basically for football, I'm required to do 1 hour of silent study hall a week to be eligible to play on Saturday. I meet with a tutor for physics, a tutor for calculus, and then on Sundays I meet with a mentor who keeps me organized.
So, do you go to Memorial Coliseum for anything else? Like, does the football team practice there?
I've been in Memorial Coliseum for a couple of women's basketball games in the past years, but I haven't been there for anything else other than that recently. The football team has their own separate facility that just opened this year, and that's where we practice.
Do you all share that facility with any other teams?
We sometimes let the baseball team use our weight room in the training facility.
So is there ever any conflicts with scheduling? Like, are there any times where you all have to wait to get into the weight room because they're practicing, or is there times where you all have to use the weight room at the same time?
No, never that. It's pretty organized. They have their own schedule. They follow it, and we follow our schedule, so it's never a problem.
Cassius goes to Memorial Coliseum only a couple hours a week for tutoring, but doesn't really go there for much of anything else. Since he is on the football team, then they have the privilege of practicing in their brand new training facility. Yet, our girls' sports teams have to work around each other's schedules and make sure that each team gets enough time to also practice in the little space that they are offered.